What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda, brought to you with thanks to our sponsors at manscaped.com. Don't forget, you can get 20% off store-wide with our discount code WFM, and they'll even throw in free shipping as well. WFM20, I should say, excuse me. Whether that be Paddy's favourite, the fragrance. Paddy, I keep forgetting what it's called. Mate, what's it called?
The ball toner?
No. The
refined cologne.
There you go, refined cologne. Reminds me of a joke, actually. I don't know how I even set this joke up or how I deliver a punchline, but there was these two girls from Tala. They were out on Moore Street having a chat one day, and she said, "Jesus, Mary, that's a lovely smell. What's that?" And she said, "It's called Voix et Moi." And I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Yeah, it's called Come to Me." And she goes, "Doesn't smell like Come to Me."
Fuck's sake. I wouldn't know what that smells like, I swear.
Well, but anyway, yeah, so I bet our sponsors are going to love that one. So, yeah. WFM20 for less of my crude jokes.
It's got to be done. Listen, it's a personal touch.
Well, yeah, we all like the personal touch, mate, don't we? Well, look, this is going down an alleyway. I don't want to go down. Let's recap yesterday, Paddy. How are you feeling after the transfer window slammed shut yesterday?
Yeah, well, when it initially shut, I was happy, thinking job was done. And now it's a bit frustrating with the whole Fabio Carvalho thing. But I've seen a lot of people freaking out. But I feel like if it's going to be done, it'll be done in the summer. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a few bits and pieces to bring up here. One sec. No, not this one. Of course, it's not that one. I've about 50 things brought up. Right, so. Nope, that's on Youri Tielemans, so that's none of that as well. Kevin, what's his name again?
Campbell?
No, the Journo dude. What the fuck's this dude's name?
Kevin.
The guy from the Sunday World. Whose name? Kevin Palmer. Kevin Palmer is just put out there again that, as far as he's aware, everything's tickety-boo for the summer for Fabio Carvalho. So, again, for me, yesterday, I mean, look, it was a bit anticlimactical, but ultimately, Paddy, we went into this transfer window, mate, not expecting a damn signing, and we got the boy you wanted. We got Luis Diaz in.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to say to people coming into me, asking me questions. If it had been the Diaz deal that had fell through like this, I would have been very annoyed, because that's someone that's coming in the now to help this season and this season's potential. So, yeah, as long as that was done, happy days. I'm happy with Diaz. Fabio will be done in the summer. The only danger with Fabio now, I think, is I'm sure that all the clubs have agreed everything that needs to be agreed, but he himself and his entourage might get more attractive offers in the summer, financially wise, from overseas. I heard Dortmund are a key potential for him. So that's the only danger I have. So hopefully whatever legalities are signed off, because there is a danger he could be lured away. I don't want that to happen, but Diaz was the surprise and the most important one. If he had fell through, I would have been annoyed, but it's fine. It's not like we're going to see him this season anyway, so not much has changed in my eyes. I'm sure it'll be done in the summer, and if it's not, then it wasn't meant to be. That's how I'd look at it.
Yeah, I suppose it's important to point out as well to anyone watching that it's kind of in Fulham's interest to actually move him on to an English club, because they'll get a lot more money for it than if he went abroad. I think 200 grand is the figure that keeps being mentioned that they get if he left England in compensation.
Yeah. I think 200 grand in compensation if he goes overseas, so which is pales in comparison to what they were going to get and what they will get in a tribunal, especially with the inflation. Harvey Elliott we got for, what was it, 5 million?
I can't never remember, Paddy, if it's 4.2 or 4.5.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
But I feel like Carvalho is probably a little bit more on in his progression, and with football inflation, they could get a nice little wedge from the tribunal, because that's why Liverpool wanted to avoid it. So listen, they'll probably want to block as much overseas moves as they can, but then again, because he's a free agent, they can only do so much. 4.5. Yeah.
You know the way as fans we love to try and find any morsel we can to give ourselves some encouragement. I think for me, mate, when I heard late last night that the Nico Williams loan to Fulham went through, that's a clear indication that's a sweetener in my eyes.
Yeah, and as we've seen discussed, it's kind of like a gesture of good faith as well to get the Nico one done. I hope the Nico trying to get that done didn't distract from the Fabio one. It also makes you wonder why we wait until the final day of the season or the last 2 days of the transfer window to do it. But again, yeah, the fact that Nico got over the line, it's great. It's obviously Fulham are willing to do it now. It's all been agreed. as I said, the only danger is Fabio himself. If he gets a better offer overseas, because there's nothing stop Fulham can't really stop him, can they? So hopefully he sees fit and comes to the Reds and joins the 2021-22 Premier League and Champions League winners.
I'm already starting to see the conversation from the journalists and stuff move towards the midfield options, and the midfield being the area to be strengthened or adjusted in the summer. Again, the conversations around the fact, and this was telling to me, actually, I read in 2 different places today, that they don't want to see Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Mane from it run their contract down. They want to see value for these guys, whether it be renewing them or moving them on. And look, we're all going to have a bit of a guess, ultimately, at which ones will move, which ones will stay. But it just baffles me, mate, that we have 5 players off the top of my head in that position, 17 months.
Yeah, that is true, and it would be a shame to lose any of these players for nothing, of course. You know, some of them will get a contract renewal, and some of them will be moved on in the summer for a few quid. I think if they have a year left, you still have a decent bargaining to do. You know, 6 months or less is kind of tough, but with a year left, we'll sell a few, and then obviously there's potential for midfield recruitment in the summer. Aurelien Tchouameni and Jude Bellingham are the top 2 players. People have been asking for both of them. I don't think that's feasible, but obviously people are talking about Tchouameni, who looks very good potential from Monaco. But for me, it's only about one man, and that is Jude.
Yeah, I'm completely biased on this. I don't care if Tchouameni is Ronaldo, Messi, and fucking anybody's love child. Just I want Jude Bellingham. I just, in my head, he's the man. And on this, I knew there was something Connor sent to me that I actually wanted to bring up today. So again, let me just click every fucking link here that isn't the right one, and eventually I'll get to the one that I should have clicked on first. 1 second. Right, so on this, so this is from various places, but I think I don't actually know where this is from. They credit the Echo. So he said, this is about Jude Bellingham. He's reportedly valued at £90 million, and his performances over the last 2 years and the incredible high ceiling on his potential means he'd be worth every cent. The Echo reports that the Reds, despite recent Anfield transfer trends, would be able to afford the deal to sign Bellingham, even if the transfer fee did cost £90 million, as the amortization would make it just £80 million per season. The report reads, while that £90 million may seem likely to price Bellingham out of what FSG usually do, his age, his profile, as well as the amortization cost over the course of a 5-year deal, the longer the better, means it's something that is achievable. That was exactly what I wanted to read today, Paddy.
Yeah, obviously, as fans of the club, it's sometimes we are wary of, our potential in the market. And as much as we've given FSG a lot of trouble this window, I think they've done well with Luis Diaz, done extremely well. And as Klopp came out and said, I wanted this man, and they went out and got him. So, unbelievable. Bellingham, it just seems destined for Anfield. I don't know what it is. There's just different Instagram interactions, his love for Stevie G, how he gets on with Hendo. The Dortmund link is always nice. We have a good relationship with them, naturally, with the You Never Walk Alone link and stuff, and Klopp and different things. So it just makes so much sense, and it seems like a lot of money, but if you think about it, given his age, given what he'd already achieved in the game by the time you sign him, it's not like if this was signing him directly from Birmingham for that money, then you'd be like, wow. But he's gone on to prove that he will be a star, and barring injuries, touch wood, he doesn't get any. He is going right to the top. He is at the top of the game, and will continue to go there for a very long time. You'd get 10 years of service out of Jude Bellingham. Do you know what I mean? So it's a no-brainer. Probably even more. He's not even 20 yet, is he? I'm not. He's young as.
No, I don't believe he is.
Do you know what I mean? That's insane. Let me just double check. He's only 18 still. Oh my days, man. That's insane. You're literally getting 10 plus years of service out of someone.
The only part I've never been able to box off in my head was the finances of it. So reading that it could be done as, amortized over 18 million a season over the course of a 5-year deal. Obviously, his wages would have to be taken into account, but amortization is basically spreading the value of the player's contract across those years. So, I mean, I don't need any encouragement, Paddy, to get on board this hype train. But when I read that today, I just thought, it's happening. It's happening even more so than I already believed it was happening. Now I've been able to box it off in my head, the money. So bring him on.
Yeah. Hopefully, I feel like it's very exciting, but I think we mustn't forget that he is going to be the hottest properties in the world. He is going to have all the big players, all the big English clubs in for him. and it's going to come to a choice to Jude Bellingham. I would imagine if we want him, if Klopp wants him, they'll do everything they can on this side. But he's going to have a plethora of offers on the table with a lot of money. Probably clubs offer more money than us because I think we forget how stringent their wage strategy is or our wage bill is. That's why I'm keen to get the Salah deal over the line for obvious other reasons. But then it's going to give a bit more leeway into what Jude can ask for and not put a deal off based on his wages. So I really want to see. He's only 18 years of age. I'm actually shocked. I thought he was a bit older than that. That's just obscene.
It is ridiculous what he's already done at that age.
He signs a 5-year deal, and at the end of it, he's 23. What? It's just obscene. I think he's a no-brainer. And you can't, we made the mistake of not getting him when he was coming from Birmingham, and maybe he wouldn't have grown on to be the player, whatever. But we need to strike now while the iron's hot. Because if you let him go from Dortmund to someone else, you'll never see him at the club. Because by the time that contract ends, by the time with that inflation, he'll be 200 million. So do it now. It'll prove to be a bargain.
Yeah, I don't see any other English clubs really been a threat. I'm not saying they couldn't blow us out of the water financially, but like you, there's just something about all of this. Like Sancho, you always knew where he was ending up. He was going to United. That was going to happen. With this, and the buzz now with that, apparently, we will let the purse strings go a little bit. I'm going to be heartbroken if that happens this May. And look, Tchouameni could be the next great thing, but in my head, it's Bellingham. But I can't accept anybody else at this point.
I agree, and Bellingham strikes me as a fella that he wants to go back to England. He's already done his stint abroad now. I feel like he definitely wants to come home to England because that's his dream. If you're an English footballer, you're an English kid growing up, or any kid really, you dream of growing up and playing in the Premier League, and Jude definitely will come back. I feel like Man United will be interested. They nearly got him before he went to Dortmund, then he said no then. So let's hope he says no again. I'm not worried about them either. It's just if Man City end up wanting him, that's when it becomes difficult, because that's when they will flex their shake muscles and could wean us out. But he strikes me as a traditionalist. Don't ask me why, but he seems like a very leveled young man with his head on his shoulders, and moving to Liverpool just makes a lot of sense. And
you couldn't go from playing in front of the yellow wall to playing in front of the empty head. You just couldn't. That just wouldn't be right, would it?
Exactly. The transition from Dortmund to Liverpool makes sense. A very traditional German club who are fighting against the might of a superpower to an English team, exactly the same. You know what I mean? So yeah, I have my heart set on Jude, a bit like you, and yeah, please.
A little bit of stuff starting to come out today about Youri Tielemans as well. So Christian Fuchs was speaking about it. I think Leicester can continue to hold on to the big name players. Leicester's a place you can express yourself. They make you feel appreciated as a player. You have to realise that if a big club comes in, maybe enticing for some of your players, but Leicester has grown in stature to a point where it's no longer a small club. Ultimately, though, his contract situation, Paddy's going to make him available. And I keep saying somebody's got to get a bargain with Tielemans. I really think that they will. And I don't think he signs on with Leicester because he would have done it by now, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not overly mad about Youri Tielemans. I'm not overly mad about him. I think he's shown flashes of brilliance. There's a bit of inconsistency there with him, and I've read that he struggles with his fitness. He's the fitness regimes. He can be a bit like lackadaisical. And ever since I've kind of seen them reports, it's kind of turned me off him a little bit. Especially coming into a Klopp team, I feel like he, Jesus Christ, have to work his arse off. But I don't know, he's a great footballer. If you can get him for a bargain, I wouldn't say no. But I wouldn't be overly eager for him, if you know what I mean.
Now that I read this, he does scream of a Real Madrid player. You can see him in a Real Madrid shirt in my head immediately. As soon as I read that comment, I was like, oh yeah, I could see him in that shirt. I don't know about you, but does that ever play into your thinking about transfers if you can visualize a player in a specific shirt?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then there's some players that you just think of with a certain shirt. Like I think when Messi moved to PSG, seeing him in the PSG gear was strange. Not to be in a Barca shirt, but yeah, that's why when we were talking about Mane leaving, I really can just picture him in a PSG kit perfectly. I just can.
I can get that as well. Yeah. I mean,
and Real Madrid, I think
I'm saying get Tielemans instead of Bellingham. No, I'm being a hungry cunt. I want 2 midfielders in this window, Paddy, coming up in the summer.
Yeah, and true. That's a good comment from Jackal. He is a bit slow. I don't think he'd be fit enough for a Klopp team, to be honest. I really don't. He's a bit pudgy, isn't he? Ironically, I'm saying that. But I don't know. Ever since I've heard them reports of him being like a lazy fecker, I just can't get them out of my head. I think we need more athletic midfielders.
That's a fair point. Tchouameni, Bellingham would fit into that mold of not workhorses without, abundance of talent, but certainly you got to have the legs for a Klopp midfield. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and if you don't, you'll just burn yourself out. And obviously, the professional athletes, I know they can easily just get up to the speed of things. But I think you need somebody who can hit the ground running in a Klopp midfield, because if you get overrun in midfield, like, you'll get slaughtered. Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's mad though, mate. My outlook on life has just gotten so much more positive since that Luis Diaz transfer was forced through. I say forced through because obviously Spurs forced their hand on it, but it's refreshing, isn't it? It's refreshing to come out of a transfer window. And I always ask myself the same question: are we stronger than when it started? And you can make arguments about some of the lads that have left on loan, like Nat Phillips, but ultimately, Paddy, we're a Sadio Mane competitor, more strong than we were before the window started. So I'm all over this. I'm loving it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I done a video on this the other day about our squad depth currently with Luis Diaz coming in and like our players being back, and I had people saying, "Well, that's basically the same team." It's like, you clearly don't understand the underlying things here. Luis Diaz comes in as an absolutely fantastic player that is now going to push a hibernating Sadio Mane to hopefully reach his peak levels, and that would be a scary thought. And now we just added some serious depth. And I don't know what it is about Luis Diaz. I don't know, but I just know he's going to be good, if you get what I'm saying. Sometimes we sign someone that's a bit like, I don't know, but I just think Diaz is going to be the business. And I will be at the Leicester game this month. So I'm hoping that he gets his debut and maybe scores, and I will lose me shite.
Yeah, Thursday night kickoff for that one as well. That'll be a great atmosphere. I mean, that'll be a cracking game to go to. On this, I haven't heard anything with Gravenberch, and I have to admit, Dean, if I'm being honest, I zoned out a bit when I found out who his agent was.
Is it Mino Raiola?
It is indeed.
Not interested. We don't work with that fella. He's a serpent. He's a vermin. He's a tumor on football. He's a cancerous tumor on the football world. He's a horrible individual. Well, yeah, he's a scumbag. I don't think have we ever had a Mino Raiola player pass through the club? Not in Klopp's time anyway. I don't think.
Yeah.
Who?
Oh, we have Balotelli, who's a Mino Raiola player.
Oh well, yeah, okay, there you go, fair. But not in Klopp's time, no way.
I'm just trying to think. I don't know. If the honest answer, I'd say Balotelli, who the last Mino Raiola player we had was. But put it this way: it's no accident that everywhere he goes, a drama ensues. Pogba, Haaland, you could continue to Zlatan, you could continue to name these.
Yeah, it's just like, when you have a man like I remember Alex Ferguson talking about dealing with Raiola through Pogba, and like when Alex Ferguson doesn't like you know what I mean? Like he's a good judge of character, you'd imagine. Yeah, he's constantly in them players' ears, unsettling people. He will bring trouble no matter what. If any club in the world isn't going to bow down to the demands of Mino Raiola, it is certainly not Liverpool Football Club under FSG and Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, it's mad because so many of his players seem to love him. Like, I mean, it's one of these, like, he's an arsehole to clubs by the looks of it. I mean, a pain in the arse. But, I mean, ultimately, if you're employing him and he's lining your pockets and sorting your family out, sorting your family out, actually, Paddy. Did you see earlier on the new Barcelona mess?
Yes, I've seen that. Barca in the mud again. Fucking hell.
So,
they're fucked.
Some issues, perhaps. I want to be careful what I say here, around payments regarding the transfer of Antoine Griezmann and Malcolm, I believe, something to do with some payments to legal representatives and family members that could potentially be being investigated. I mean, that, and they haven't even registered Traore and Aubameyang yet, and Aubameyang was out training this morning with them. I mean, this is nuts.
The Aubameyang one is very weird. Barca they're not magically just going to get over the Bartomeu like scandals and all that. They're not magically going to fix that club. They seem to be doing some good business, like Adama and stuff, and Aubameyang to a degree. But the fact that he was training with them and it's not even official yet is strange. Seems to be a lot of legality still to fix there. But Barca just seem to be firmly in the mud these days, and there's a new scandal every day.
I wonder, like, are Barcelona going to be the prime example of a club that are just too big to go under? Because it seems like they're constantly getting bailouts.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I think they are, to be honest. They are. I think they got that loan they got was from Qatar themselves, wasn't it? So, like,
I'm not
literally,
sure, but there's an old phrase, Paddy, that said, you know, if you owe the bank 100 grand, the bank own you. If you owe the bank 100 million, you own the bank, because you go under, that money disappears very quickly.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's all well and good they're getting bailouts, but that means they're going to be forever in debt to someone else, and it'll only create more trouble. Like, if solving debt was as easy as getting a loan, you know what I mean, all the time, then nobody in the world would have debt.
Yeah, I mean, imagine Balotelli, Jamrock trying to take the moral high ground with anybody over anything. I believe, didn't he mistrade it because he wanted to get the new iPhone or something at one point? I remember some mad story like that.
I remember seeing Gerrard's on an interview with Gerrard when Balotelli first signed, and he was just, the reaction was like going from Suarez to Balotelli. He was just like, yeah, he's a character, all right. I remember when we signed Balotelli, it was a weird one. I kind of was like, but I was kind of excited. I thought he could maybe do bits, but I'm kind of glad he didn't, because he's a rotten attitude. Like, I think he's doing good now for Demirspor in Turkey, to be fair, and he's got back into the Italian national team. So fair play to him.
Yeah, here's a bit of news for everybody that I'm sure you'll be happy about. Reported by RMC Sport, a very reputable French outlet. Liverpool have held talks with Aurelien Tchouameni's entourage to see if the midfielder will be interested in a summer Anfield transfer. I mean, entourage, that's where we are now, Paddy, in the world. Entourage. You mentioned the phrase entourage earlier on as well. I think about Bellingham or somebody, but entourage is now. It's mad, isn't it? But on this,
entourage.
I'm very ignorant around Tchouameni. I haven't watched or paid much attention to him. I have to be honest.
I've seen bits of him, but as a FIFA player, that's how I first heard of Tchouameni, if I'm being genuinely serious. Yeah, he got a lot of informs this year, so he's, that's a good indicator. Usually, he's been playing well for Monaco, and obviously after that, you look him up, and he's been very heavily linked with Man United as well. A bit of a Chelsea vibe. I think he was very close to signing for Chelsea in the summer, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, listen, he seems like a prospect. I don't know. I'm wary sometimes of signing players from Liga, because I don't know, flop vibes. But I think he'll be good.
I suppose he only has to chat with Fabinho to see what the transition could be like from Monaco to Liverpool.
Indeed. We like a Monaco player, which is great. French speaking as well, so it'll help Keita and Sadio Mane, and Ibu, of course.
Help them when they're searching for another club.
Yeah. Maybe go to Monaco. Who knows? I know we talk about it. I still holding out for Keita. I'm still holding out. Sadio, though, people were like, there was this lineup video I done, and Mane was still starting, and people were like, how come Diaz isn't starting? I was like, in what world has he earned the right to come straight in? That's obscene. Yes, eventually, I would imagine by the time we play in the Champions League final and in the end of the season, Diaz will be starting.
Yeah, again, I'm somebody, mate, that looks at this situation, just views it as a positive, because if we had gone from in the summer and we got it tied up in the summer, we wouldn't have had this time to get used to him, to see how he acclimatizes the league, to the squad. It's all gravy as far as I'm concerned, and I'm looking forward to seeing him go to battle with Sadio and the other lads for a position in the front three.
Absolutely. I don't know if you've seen that clip on TikTok of him celebrating in a Porto game after a goal. And it was a night game as well, just the sheer passion. And comment was like, this man is going to be different gravy in the Champions League nights at Anfield. Like, I'm just so excited for him. And I know we keep harping on about it, but I just think he's going to be the mustard. And yeah, he's going to have that Latin fever, Latin spice, probably bust out a few salsa moves when he scores. Very exciting.
You know what I did learn from watching all these clip videos and all is the Porto fans love a nutmeg. Oh, they love a nutmeg, Paddy. They cheer that as loud as a goal. And apparently Luis Diaz loves a nutmeg as well.
Yeah, very true. A lot of flair there. I feel sorry for Porto. They must be seriously sick of Liverpool. I seen it. This Porto fan on Twitter was like, I am just so sick of Liverpool. Please stop We've beaten them like 18-1 on aggregate over the last few years, and we've just taken their best player. So, unlucky.
And I suppose the ultimate, not fuck you, but the ultimate knife in the back here would be that he's coming in to fight with a player who scores against him for fun in Sadio Mane.
Really taking the piss. Oh, Sadio loves the Porto away day. I hope we get them again in the Champions League next year. So it's always an easy time.
Yeah, we've got good memories there. I want to go visit that stadium, by the way, the Estadio de Dragao. It looks like great crack for a game. The fans look top notch.
Yeah, I think that's where Chelsea won the Champions League, wasn't it? It looked like, well, I mean, obviously there wasn't a full stadium, but yeah, it looks like a lovely stadium. And Portugal, it seems like a lovely country. I have been in my youth, literally as a baby, but yeah, it looks like a class stadium. So does the Braga one. I remember we played Braga in the Europa League in like 2009 or something like that. Like just like a hill cut into the stadium. It looks fantastic.
Yeah. It's behind the goal. I remember when we had the Europa League final in Ireland, it was an all Portuguese affair as well. I think Braga were part of that, weren't they?
Yeah, I know Porto won it with Falcao. Was it Braga that they played in the final? Yeah.
I think it may have been Braga. I could be wrong. I think
Porto.
It's Braga, but I could be wrong. My memory isn't what it once. Well, it is. It's always been shit. My memory, and it could be.
I've just typed in Porto Dublin in Google, and it's obviously showing me flights. Like, yeah, Porto and Braga. Good shout. Yeah.
Interesting one. I want to get the chat. I'd love your feedback on this as well, guys. The transfer window. Who are the big winners? Who are the big losers? And why have we seen a window right across Europe, Paddy, where there's a lot of last chance saloon type signings? You know, Dele Alli as an example. I won't say Van de Beek's a last chance saloon just yet, but there's a lot of rolls of the dice here by clubs.
True. There's some make or break, as you said. Some interesting stuff. I think in terms of winners, Villa's a winner. In terms of losers, Man United is a big loser. They didn't do any business in terms of incomes when they needed a lot of help. Yeah, that's Man United. And obviously they've had a lot of outgoings and other things going on. So they've definitely been the big losers. But Villa, Villa have been big winners. Felipe Coutinho and Lucas Digne. Superb. And they've signed a few others as well, I think. Or they've renewed contracts with Martinez and things like that. Chambers, yeah, which is a weird one. Ramsey to Rangers, like if that works out, that's a master stroke by Rangers. I hope it doesn't though. But yeah, great signing. The Dele Alli one, it's the most Everton thing you've ever seen in your life. I think Spurs, in terms of their outgoings, have been winners, and it's very, as I said last night in the show, it's very exciting times for Spurs because Antonio Conte is really just coming in and saying, listen, this is what I'm doing. If you're not up for it, get out. He's got rid of people who aren't willing to put the work in. Tanguy Ndombele, Dele Alli, Brian Hill, who came in from Sevilla. He's gone back to Spain now to get some more work done. Bentancur is a tidy signing, and Kulusevski, who was really, really bright potential. I know they missed out on a lot of transfers. Unlucky, but I think they're in a really good place under Conte, and tidy January from them. And Arsenal also are massive losers. They've left themselves with two senior strikers.
I'd semi-argue the Arsenal point with people. On the Spurs thing, that maybe if you're really old, that guy is Kulusevski, the guy that they brought in. He said that he admired Adnan Januzaj growing up, and I'm thinking, fuck hell, I still think Januzaj is a kid.
Jesus, yeah, I think he's a Swede, but he has like Macedonians, like other connections. That's mental. Adnan, you can look. First of all, why are you looking up to Adnan Januzaj? And second of all, wow, that's insane. That's really. I feel really. Even I feel old about that. Bloody hell. Yeah, he's going to be. He's really good potential. When he first signed, I think he signed from Malmo. When he went to Juve, done okay. I think he could be really. That could be really some shrewd business. And they're both signings from the Italian league, from Juve, and obviously Conte has just been there with Inter, so he obviously likes what he saw. So, I think it's exciting. I think Spurs are 100% going to take that fourth spot. I really think they will. Oh, Newcastle, by the way. Yeah, that Bruno Guimaraes deal was insane. Unbelievable transfer.
I don't know much about him either, in all honesty. I know that he wears 31 because that's his dad's taxi number or something like that. That's about all I know. I actually want to come on to Newcastle in a bit, but on Arsenal, I don't know. I think they've had a decent window with regards to they've shifted on a lot of money off the books with regards to wages and players that Arteta didn't think was pulling their weight, and I admire that, but I absolutely appreciate where you're coming from as well. With they've got Nketiah and Lacazette, who I think are both out of contract in the summer as their only senior strikers at the minute.
Yeah, well, I think getting rid of Aubameyang is kind of a no-brainer in terms of, as in, he was out of favour. Arteta wanted nothing to do with him. He's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, so they probably had to. There's no doubt of his talent on his day, but Lacazette hasn't been pulling up trees either. Eddie Nketiah, and also, I seen he came from Parma, Kulusevski, sorry. Yeah, it's a weird one. They didn't have much incomings, I don't think. Did they have any incomings? No, I don't think they did. They've done a lot of work in the summer, though, some good signings, but they're looking light up top, that's for sure.
They tried their best to spunk money on an attacker in Raul de Tomas from Espanyol, who is nowhere near good enough. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with that one. And Isaac, who they were told £75 million if they want Alexander Isaac.
I was laughing when I seen the links to Isaac, and Isaac was spotted in London with Adnan Januzaj, funnily enough, and Arsenal fans were creaming their pants. I was like, maybe he just fancied a trip to London. He's not, you're not signing Isaac. He's going to go to a big club because he's a fantastic prospect. But the thing with Spain is, I think, as you said, it's mandatory release fees. So some of them are obviously like exponential, that you're not going to get them for any less than such and such. But yeah, it's a weird one. They really need to get an attacker. It's strange that they didn't. But yeah, Spunks. Isaac is pronounced Ichak. No, it's hardly. Anyway, yeah, that would have been unreal. That would have been an unreal.
Name pronunciations aren't good, mates. Newcastle. Before we move on to more Liverpool stuff in the midfield and the Cardiff game, Newcastle 90 million in the market roughly in January. Mixed bag to say the least. Dan Burn from Brighton, local lad, I think, isn't he? He's from that area. Remains to be seen. Yeah. I'm not convinced by their business, if I'm being honest with you. I think they're going to be stuck now, and if they survive and they look to push on, I think they're going to have trouble getting some of these wages off the books.
Yeah, it's a very mixed bag from Newcastle. That Chris Wood one still sticks out because Burnley have just pulled Newcastle's pants down. They've got rid of Chris Wood for that amount of money, and they've signed Wout Weghorst, who has been banging them. I think his average is like 1 and 3 for Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. He's a Dutch international as well. An upgrade on Chris Wood, to say the least. So Burnley have done really well there, and Burnley have started to kind of change the demographic a wee bit. They usually stayed very, very UK based with their signings, but they've branched out now. They got Maxwell Cornet, that worked out, so they got a bit more adventurous. This Weghorst signing is really good, and yeah, the Chris Wood one just makes no sense. He's going to be someone who's going to be there for 6 months, and then after the next summer, he'll be on the bench again. The Bruno Guimaraes signing from Lyon, very good. Trippier, solid. They got Matt Targett on loan from Villa. Yeah, mixed bag, but I think they had a deal done for the Frenchman from Reims, I believe, and that they wanted to stay in the end. So if they had got him over the line, maybe it would have been interesting. But they're still lacking a proper goal scorer, I think.
Obviously, it's well known to everybody that Guimaraes is number 39 because that's his dad's taxi number. I definitely did make a mistake earlier on and say 31. It's clearly 39.
To be fair, I didn't know that, so you've educated me there, Craig. I do appreciate that. Big up, Bruno. I think he was touted by Arsenal. He actually mugged Arsenal off in his announcement video as well, which is hilarious. And he looks a proper player. He could be a really shrewd bit of business for them.
I know I keep harping on about this, Paddy, but I really want to try and figure out the transfer plan for the summer, because whatever way I dress this up, in my head I keep coming back to getting rid of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita. Both with a heavy heart for different reasons, but both I think justified based on the contract situation and my absolute fear of giving both of them a new 4-year deal.
I think I'm with you. I'm with you for the Ox one. I think it's time to sell and get a few quid for him. 15, 20 million, whatever, I don't know. I think 20 would be a bit wishful thinking. But for me, I don't think Naby goes. I think Klopp still he rates Naby so highly. And I know he's a walking injury, but there's always that little hope that he'll stop being injured. And I think it very much depends on how he comes back from the AFCON and how he plays for the rest of the season. If he can stay fit for the whole rest of the season, I reckon he could get a new deal.
You don't even believe there's decisions. You're saying those words and you don't even believe it's going to happen.
I don't know. I think he's on his day one of the best midfielders at the club. I think he's fantastic.
Oh, arguably, he's brilliant.
Um,
Love him as a player.
on his day, yeah, and by on his day I mean like when he's fit, because I think he plays well when he does play. I really like him. Apart from that Real Madrid away leg, well, less said about that the better. He doesn't like Madrid, doesn't Abby? But no, I think there's a couple of decisions to be made, but I feel like they're subjective to how we finish the season, how certain players perform. I feel like Ox is it won't be getting game time, so it's gonna be hard for him to impress. But I feel like when our best squad is fit, Naby Keita gets into it, so he will get the chance. And if he stays fit, he'll get a new deal, I think.
Looking ahead to the attackers, I mean, this again just is my own stupid thinking, but in my head now, I'm absolutely sound with having the 5 brilliant attackers. Give Mane a new deal, give Firmino a new deal, and if you want to sell them in a year's time, do so. But the idea, Paddy, of only getting to see these 5 attackers for a limited period of time before the band gets broken up, we could box off 2 years easily left with Firmino, Mane if they got extensions and the 3 lads that we have. Those 5 players, there's no real drop off there, none.
No, all very elite for sure. And the signing of Diaz again, it's a signal of intent from Liverpool and Klopp. It's like don't get it twisted. They're signing him to give Mane will be sweating over in Cameroon right now, and not just because it's fucking roasting, but he'll be thinking, "Holy shit." Like, I'm going to have to go back there and work my arse off, which is exactly what we need. We seen what happened when Robbo was dropped for Costas. He upped his game and has been phenomenal. We need a similar style. But I think no matter what, I think like the long term is going to be Diaz there. But I'd love to be able to alternate the two of them and have them all there together. I agree with that. The only problem is with the deals for Bobby and Mane, if they can agree to extend current deals, that's fair enough. But if it comes to a case where they want to increase terms, that's just not going to happen, I don't think, and they will be let go. I don't want to see it, but it depends on what the player themselves can agree on. Because as you said, as it has been said, they haven't entered negotiations with Sadio's team yet, because they probably it's a tough one. If he can extend his current deal, all well and good, but there is no world where he gets an upgraded contract at all. Same with Bobby.
Yeah, see, it's a tough one on that, because isn't he the worst paid of the 3?
Yes. No, is he? Oh, Bobby, no?
I don't know. I know Mane's contract, the last time I seen it. Now, again, this I could be misremembering this, and it could be before they signed that extension, the 3 of them. But I remember he was certainly lower than I was expecting him to be on. And I feel like if I was to give Sadio Mane a wage now based on his standing in football, I think 150 grand a week is probably about where he deserves to be.
Yeah, well, apparently Bobby's on 140, so he's on the lowest of the 3. Yeah, well, perhaps. But I just don't know if I don't know if the club will do that. I wouldn't mind. Maybe if he doesn't ask for too much, maybe it could be doable. As you said, I'd love to keep all 5 of them, because a front 5 of that would be unbelievable. Maybe we can try a 5-5 at the front formation for the cracker, try and work something in. It would be very intriguing. In the grand scheme of football, you're probably worth more than 100k a week for sure. But that's just shout out to Liverpool for keeping a shrewd wage bill. But with the hopefully inevitable Salah extension, that's where you're going to find difficulty. Players will be like, well, if Mo's got up this, then your excuse of not being able to break it is gone now. So that's obviously what FSG are wary of. So there's definitely a lot of in-house chess that has to be played yet before these contracts are signed, sealed, and delivered.
If I'm Sadio Mane, honestly, and I'm an insecure fucker at the best of times, I'd feel a little bit annoyed by this situation, if I'm being honest. I'd feel a bit disrespected that somebody who, look, he hasn't done Salah numbers, but he's been the next best of our attackers probably in recent years, and looking at the time at Liverpool, that I think you're looking around now and hearing maybe Mohamed Salah tying himself down to worst case scenario, probably 350 grand a week. And yet we're here as fans debating whether he should get an increase on his 100 grand a week. It doesn't feel right. And I can understand why you might look at it and go,
yeah, no, of course. I think we forget Mane was an absolute, and was in the early Klopp days, he was absolutely paramount to the success of the team. He was phenomenal and is phenomenal, and obviously has kind of dwindled a little bit on his peak and his prime. But I just think if you're given contracts based on work to date, in businesses and walks of life, that's a fair assessment. You've worked up to there, but in the world of football, it's all about the here and now and what you're offering here and now. And the signing of Luis Diaz signals that the club isn't happy or thinks they can improve on Sadio Mane, I think, or push him. So, he doesn't deserve a madly boosted contract based on his recent performance. And I said the tweet about that this week, and I heard a lot of abuse back. But as much as I love him for what he's done, he is ultimately on the downward spiral, and that's why we brought in Senor Diaz to be the new main man, in my opinion.
Be interesting to see if the old guard front three is broken up with one of them not getting renewed. What the plan is with regards to strength and depth. Do you look at Cade Gordon as being that fifth Beatle, if you want that fifth member of the attacking lineup, or do you then go maybe if Mane moved on and revisit the likes of a Bowen or Rafinha or another?
I don't think we sign another winger now in the summer, even with Mane leaving. If Mane leaves, sorry. I don't think we sign another one, unless I think they'll just promote youngsters. Cade Gordon. I think we forget Harvey Elliott can play in the front three as well a little bit. Obviously, the left side seems a bit lacking there, but I think they'll, as you said, I'd rather retain Mane as a backup to Diaz eventually, or vice versa. Have both of them and choose wisely. That's what I'd rather see. So, I was all for not giving Mane a contract, but I'd love to see him agree a new deal if we can, if possible, in the ideal world. And keeping them two fighting for a place would be supreme.
Yeah, it's just, the more you just think about it, I asked this the other day, is there potentially a better five in world football attack-wise as a group of players? It's, you could argue Bayern Munich have a very talented attack, of course, but I wouldn't swap it. I'd be more than happy with those five, mate, for the next year or two.
Well, I suppose on paper, you're probably looking at Neymar, Mbappe, Messi, Di Maria, and maybe you throw a Cardi in there as well as the bit of a drop-off. But in terms of what actually proven, I don't think you find a better five in the world.
Do you know what's made me really excited in the last week? And just going back over the youth players that we've brought in who are slowly starting to trickle through, and the idea of the amount of money it could save the club that could, allow us that one or two marquee signings every couple of years. So Cade Gordon, I mean, mate, we're going to look back at this and talk about the £1 million we paid Derby and just piss ourselves laughing at how he was ever allowed to be sold for £1 million, even at that age.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, I think there is some youngsters that come through and you look at them and you're like, nah, I don't think he's going to be all that. But with I don't know what it is about Cade Gordon, but he is the business, isn't he? So I think it's good to persist with youngsters and give them the opportunities rather than going out and sign other players. I do think this could spell the end for Takumi Minamino, though. I feel like we're going to see Minamino leave in the summer. I would not be surprised at all. Because I'd rather see.
He should leave.
Yeah,
he should be sold.
Yeah,
he should. I don't care if people say this, that, and the other. Ultimately, if he lines up on that pitch instead of any of the other five, your heart drops a little bit and you think there's a drop off. And if anyone doesn't say that that's the truth, I think they're lying.
Yeah, and people might think this is a bit harsh, but for me, Cade Gordon has already superseded Minamino in my eyes. That's the man I want to see as Mo's backup. Listen, it's just I wanted to give him a chance. We've given him chances. I just feel like ultimately he's not good enough, even as a backup. We need to want more. I think it was one of them signings. They signed them for the sake of let's see if it works, and it hasn't worked out. Not every club signing has worked out and will work out. I think just in the terms of the youth, you take the L and you move on. Sell him. I think you can sell him for a profit still. Leeds want Taki apparently. So we sell him for 7, sell him for 10, easy. You make a profit. Hey presto, beautiful. He's not on our level. I don't think.
I think 20 is what the club want, and I think they'll get it, and I think they should get it, if I'm being honest, because he's just not. I don't see him as a Premier League player, and I think if Leeds go down that route, they're just getting themselves another Dan James type signing that is just some clown that hasn't got a clue what he's doing. No, I don't mean Dan James. I mean making the signings to fit the team.
No, listen, I think he could still come good in the Premier League, but I think to do that, he needs to go to a club that's going to play him week in, week out, and he needs to learn there. But he's not going to get those opportunities at Liverpool, and being a bit part player is not going to grow him. Take 20 million for him. That's what, a 30 million profit. So lovely. Thank you.
On this one, Gakpo, that's the guy from PSV, isn't it? The 6'2" winger Chris was shouting on about.
Yeah. So he's a winger though, isn't he? But yeah, listen, I wouldn't mind him. 6 foot. He's like he's a very unorthodox winger. But listen, for a few quid, why not? But yeah, no, I think Taki will be gone now. I think you promote Cade Gordon and Mateusz Murzylowski, the little Polish fella. I really want to see. I think he's going to be quality too. I really want to see him get in and amongst it next year. I think he really has the potential to be a baller. He's still a bit away from getting up there, but it'll be like we get rid of some of the deadwood, the older deadwood that have finished their growth and persist with the youngsters that are forever evolving. That's what we need to look at. Get rid of your, there's going to be a nice bit of change. Milner's going to leave, and as you said, to the dismay of some people, Henderson is going to slide into that Milner role. We're going to see a nice little. I'm now seeing the future and the pictures clearer and clearer, and I'm excited.
I don't want to give up. As someone mentioned this in the chat, I was kind of put it back in my head. I don't want to give up the idea of Pedro Neto yet either. I know he hasn't had a good run of it with injury and stuff coming back for Wolves, but he's always struck me as a Liverpool type player. I like anyone that has fire in their belly, which, the more I've looked into Diaz, and I'm late to that party, you were speaking about his positive attributes way before I even came on board on this, but I love a fighter, and Neto always struck me as somebody like that who would get stuck in.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say no to it. It'd be hard to see where we fit him in now, to be honest. We're kind of spoiled for choice in that sense now. But yeah, he seems like a great little player. He showed really good flashes for Wolves. Good track record with Wolves as well. But yeah, it's just hard to see where you'd fit him in now. But he is quality.
Fabio Carvalho, apparently, if he still comes, the plan there is for him to be the false nine down the line, the Bobby Firmino, don't want to say replacement, but the next generation. We know Diogo Jota probably the centre forward at the minute. I think we'd all agree on form. Diogo should be starting week in, week out. But again, 25 for Diogo. If you bring through a 19-year-old Carvalho, again, lovely age gap there, lovely chance to progress, and then Jota becomes the Firmino, and then the cycle continues. And again, we can start to see this light and the plan take shape.
Yeah, for sure. And I've seen the Carvalho suggestions. For me, as long as Jota stays as their number 9 down the middle, I think that's where he thrives. I've seen someone say that Jota can't play there, and I obviously don't watch football. But yeah, no, I still have a lot of hope for Bobby. He's a lot to offer, and Bobby's one of them players that will age very well. I think as he gets older, he'll still offer so much. And Carvalho coming in there, I'll be able to learn from one of the best. And there's a lot of great potential there with him and Jota and Bobby. It's just exciting to see the blueprint is now becoming very evident. And the silent work going on, building the second Klopp team while the first one's still going is Ferguson-esque. I think Ferguson was the master of doing that in his days. He was able to add little bits and bobs, and then hey presto, we got a new team. So no, I'm very intrigued and excited by it all.
Do you think that this new talent, this young crop coming through, might excite Klopp enough to want to extend? Because I haven't dared to think about that really yet out loud.
I hope so. I'd love to see him get to the 10 years, so at least. But Klopp, he just strikes me as a man who has his plan in place, and he'll want to break, and he'll want the holiday, and his wife Ula, isn't it? He'll want to go and chill away. And yeah, I don't know. I really hope he stays for as long as possible. But I don't know. I want Klopp to stay forever, but if by the stage he leaves or wants to leave, Gerrard has done really well at Villa, I'd be happy to take the plunge and go with Gerrard then and let Klopp have his break. But I just don't think he says he doesn't want to manage forever, so I don't think there's a case of he will just stay on. I feel like he'll. Milner is deadwood, Liz. He's going. He's finished. I'm sorry, Liz. I'm sorry, James freaking Milner. But yeah, I hope he stays, Craig. And yeah. I hope so. I hope he would, but I don't think he will. I think he's going to leave.
I'm forever going to be a Firmino apologist, by the way. Bobby could be 40 and I'd be still trying to justify why he should be at the club. I just love to do that much because He's got everything. Look, he's probably the player I enjoy the most, and he's definitely the player that winds me up the most.
Yeah, no, listen, I think we always say there's something hits different when Bobby scores a goal. That smile, that dance, those moves. I love the man. And he can be very frustrating, but I think that's when we expect him to be the ruthless goal scorer, because he never really has been that, and that's when we really got annoyed by him. But that's why Jota coming in is kind of saved Bobby's bacon, and we can kind of look at Firmino in a different light. I think that one of the goals against Palace, I think he was integral. He coming into the defensive midfield, picking it up, and he offers so much more than a goal scorer. And that's his strengths. If you're looking at Bobby to be a pure goal scorer, that's when you're going to get frustrated with him, because he's not ruthless enough in front of the goal.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, I suppose. Look, he never, I suppose, professed to be a number 9. Really, did he? He was kind of thrust into a system by Klopp, and then the system almost built around him for a long time. So, yeah, look, I'm just skipping around at the minute, Paddy. I'm honestly so fucking happy with the way this window has panned out. And I want to touch on Nat Phillips for a second, if I may. I like the fact that he's gone on a loan to Bournemouth, because it gives us options as a club in the summer.
Yes, for sure. It's nice to see, and obviously Nico goes to Fulham as well. The players that we're not playing, it's good to get them go out and play first team football. That's when players really grow. Sitting on our bench isn't going to work. So yeah, they go there, they play well, they increase their transfer value. It's just good business. Look at Chelsea. They loan out. They've put 30 on loan every year, which is obviously going to have to come to a change. But yeah, I'm happy. It's a good move for Nat. And yeah, as you said, it opens up a lot of options for us if it goes well.
Yeah, not too shabby. I mean, what is it? 1.5 million and a potential 250 grand on top of that if Bournemouth come up, which it looks like they may do, which, we still have the registration of Nat Phillips then in the summer, and he still has, 2 years to go in his contract, 3 years to go in his contract. So I think it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's in terms of today's football, that's buttons, isn't it? But that's not what the move's for. It's about giving that hopefully first team football. So hopefully there's been assurances guaranteed there. I'm sure that with him and Gary Cahill can form a very formidable partnership, and I think Bournemouth are going to cruise up the league and get up. It's going to be Fulham, them, and someone else. Obviously breaking news, but yeah, hopefully Nat can go and really show why he's the business, and he'll add money onto his transfer fee exponentially.
I want to finish up on Origi and Phillips for a sec. But before I do, just a bit more closer to home, that young guy Heffernan actually signed for AC Milan yesterday. Did you see that? I didn't realize it was Rob Heffernan's son.
Yeah, Rob Heffernan's son. Yeah. That's very good. And he's only 16, so it's really exciting. It's good to see an Irishman go over to such a big club. And as I said, he's the first one since 1949, so bit of history for you.
Yeah, I wish him all the best. It's great to see it. I think this is the third Irish young lad that's now playing his trade in Serie A. I think there's one at Inter and one at Udinese or somewhere, if my memory is correct from earlier on. But great for Irish football.
I tell you, we're going to win the next World Cup that we qualify for.
We didn't want to go to Qatar. It's too warm, so we said we'd give that one a miss.
Exactly. It'd be nice to qualify, wouldn't it? It'd be great. Obviously, we have the Nations League campaign coming up in March. I think we're in a good. We're getting better. We're getting better. And when you have big Gavin Bazunu in between the sticks, you're laughing.
I tell you what, mate. The one I said I'd come back to something here. Origi. Nobody taking a punt on Origi has annoyed me more than I thought it would. I mean, how has nobody seen that this lad could be a valuable asset to them?
Yeah, I agree, but I also, now I think we're actually pretty stocked up. But yeah, to be fair, I'm surprised too. I'm sure there was a lot of offers, but Divock strikes me as the guy where he'll be like, sees an offer, you can go to Burnley. He's probably thinking, fuck, am I going to Burnley? I am in my bollocks going to Burnley. Fuck that. I'm sitting here in Liverpool to get me pushed a few quid. What?
What's a Burnley?
Exactly, literally, fucking Burnley and mad. So I feel like he's probably turned down a lot of. I think there's definitely been offers on the table for him. There's no doubt there has been, but he strikes me as a guy who's just chilling. He's happy enough to stay at Liverpool and stat pad and collect some trophies. And why not? And hopefully he gets a day out at the League Cup final. Actually, no, hopefully not. Never mind that. I take that back completely.
I do that so many times. Off myself into something and realise I'm talking complete bollocks and just go, no, actually, scratch that. You know what really annoyed me about the Origi thing was last night, transfer window closed. We heard about Nico going on loan to Fulham, but then we hear that West Ham tried to get Duvan Zapata in like last minute on a loan for the rest of the season. And you're just thinking, if you needed a striker and you wanted to, why didn't you just go for Origi? I just don't get it.
Neither do I. Yeah, like he's a great striker. He's a ruthless finisher. I think obviously there's probably a lot of question marks over his if he can do it over a prolonged period of time, because obviously he doesn't get a lot of games. But it's a weird one. I would love to know the ins and outs. There's definitely surely been offers there. But obviously, maybe they just didn't. I think Liverpool probably wanted to sell him really, and maybe clubs wanted to loan him. Maybe that's the only thing I can think of really.
It's mad how Manchester United, without making a single signing, have somehow managed to be worse after this window. I mean, I don't want to go into the Greenwood stuff, but the Lingard situation really amazes me. I mean, they were demanded, what was it, a 12.5 million quid payment from Newcastle if they stayed up. I mean, fucking Lingard's barely worth that as it is.
Yeah, it's a bit mad. I feel like, unfortunately, for Lingard, he's just become a casualty of this whole situation going on. Because they can't completely take the piss and lose everyone, and obviously without getting into that situation, as much as he's a horrible human, as a footballer, like they're losing a big asset there as well. So but that's like they've had a very bad window, to say the least. And usually I take joy in United's demise, but at this stage it's like I don't want to celebrate something so negative. Like I just They're just in a bad situation, aren't they? But they didn't do any. The fact they didn't have any income is truly bizarre. I don't know. Like they go on about how they have the pull and the money, but surely if they did, they'd go out and actually sign someone worthwhile. But yeah, it's truly bizarre. They've muddled themselves.
Have you listened to Paul Merson at all, spouting absolute shite about Dele Alli again? If they can rediscover this, I mean, he's playing under Frank Lampard, who was a great attacker. He's not Frank Lampard, though. That's the thing. Lampard worked his ass off. Dele Alli is going to be I think, an absolute failure, abject failure. I don't see him ever getting back to the early days when he came in from MK Dons, and I think he's only got himself to blame for that.
I mean, Jesus, Paul Merson is the mayor of Talk Shitesville, isn't he? Or Shite, honest to God, it's crazy. It's just a lazy statement about Lingard. Oh, Lampard was a good midfielder. He's going to magically turn him into fucking Lampard. No, like Dele Alli doesn't have the hunger and desire, because he was, as a kid, he was spoilt with too much money, and he's just become like a petulant child. Mourinho didn't fancy him. Conte didn't fancy him. Pochettino did fancy him. That's when he played well, but ever since then, he's kind of down tools. So I'd be amazed if he turns into a good signing for Everton. Apparently it can go up to 40 million. So that must be something fucking truly bizarre to be ever worth that. But yeah, I don't see it. I think Van de Beek will be a good one though. I don't see Dele Alli coming good, because ultimately I don't think he'll get the chance, because I feel like Lampard will get sacked after 6 months if things don't go well. So Everton are a club where the manager's job becomes available every 6 months. So it's very hard to find stability.
Yeah, I think the hints are there with, the club. Spurs so happy to get rid of him. So many managers not wanting to really, rely on him because he hasn't shown up. So I think sometimes the writing's on the cards. For those coming in late, by the way, about Bellingham, I've seen a couple of people in the chat ask about Jude Bellingham. The good news is that apparently Liverpool can afford Jude Bellingham. So there we go. You can box that one off. You can write that off. Apparently, as I said, 18 million a year amortized over a 5-year deal, according to some people in the know, is doable for the finances. And look, I don't care how we get there, Paddy. Just get me Bellingham and just keep telling me it's doable.
Hey Jude, sign for the Reds, and if you do, I'll let you tear me to shreds.
I was thinking you're going to work the phrase "head" in there somewhere. I mean,
I went a bit more gruesome.
Yeah, sorry. We started off with the Manscaped stuff, went a bit south early doors there in the stream. So I mean, fair play for rescuing it back to the PG rating at the end.
I had to make sure we got it back. I had to. That's me. I'm the PC rescuer. God, I'm so sorry. When I start singing, I can go anywhere. I do apologize.
Yeah, I'm the same as well. In the chat, right, really quick, before we finish up, last couple of minutes, you get one of these guys, Tchouameni or Bellingham. Who are you having? Let us know in the chat. I don't need to ask you, Paddy, because you're like me, aren't you? You're full on the Bellingham propaganda.
Oh, for sure, yeah. As much as I'm fond of Tchouameni, not tonight. You know what I mean? All about the Bellingham. Choo choo.
I swear that goes on in my head. That noise, that when I'm walking around, like
yeah. No, I think us Liverpool, especially the Anfield Agenda family, I think we've been sold on the Bellingham idea a long time ago. So, as much as Tchouameni would cost maybe half, nah, all about the Bellingham.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about the cost. I've got to be honest. Once he's signed, the cost goes out the window to me. It's all about, is it the right fit? And Bellingham is.
And wouldn't he count as home ground because he's English?
Bellingham, yes.
Yeah, of course. So there you go.
Brought through. So, yes. So we could have them potentially Fabio Carvalho, who counts as homegrown. We'd have Elliott, homegrown. Jones, homegrown. If we brought in Jude, homegrown, Trent, homegrown, it's just the list goes on and on and on. Again, suddenly then Liverpool are able to cherry pick a bit more carefully the sprinkling of intercontinental talent like Luis Diaz and not have to worry so much about the overseas player quota. Because I think, if my memory's right, isn't the homegrown quota increasing again in a few years?
Yeah. And I think on that whole thing as well, because of the signing of Diaz, Liverpool have to now unregister a non-homegrown player in the Champions League squad, which I believe will be Loris Karius, because he's registered in the Champions League squad badly enough. But that is so. We have to unregister a non-homegrown player in the Champions League squad.
I mean, it should be Karius. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't have his contract renewed or not renewed, just revoked or just cancelled in January, because just pay him off and just say bye-bye.
The fact that he's just chilling around like the training ground still just is so funny, like just chilling. Not a chance he sees daylight in the team, just walking around going, all right, lads, yeah, I'm the fellow who fucked up the Champions League. Yeah, that's me. Couldn't save a Word document. Just still chilling. Taking his Instagram pictures, looking like a model. He's a very beautiful man, to be fair.
Look at my G-Wagon.
Yeah, there you go. Listen, God love him. He didn't deserve the abuse he got, but if I ever have to watch him play football again, I'm going to go watch cricket.
I just try and consult. Like, I really felt from that day against Real Madrid. Honestly, I did. I mean, you could see how distraught he was, and it wasn't an easy sight. But ultimately, I try and just remind myself that he was £4.5 million or something like that when we signed him.
Well, I'd be lying, Craig, if I told you on the night I felt any sympathy for him. I certainly did not. I felt sympathy for myself. Absolutely. That was, oh God, I can remember it well. I was in Washington and Murray's in town. Oh God, that was not a pretty night. But next year we had a good night. So thankfully we made up for it. But he was actually pretty good up until then. But, you know, he had to have his worst ever game in the biggest game of the year.
It was just he seems like a confidence keeper, and his confidence, there was no coming back at Liverpool. We tried the pre-season stuff, and every time you could almost feel the groans from Liverpool fans from here. And I'm not singling out anyone. I was part of the groaning as well. But same with Mignolet, it just came a time where there was no trust left.
When it comes to a goalkeeper, as soon as your confidence gone, you're finished. And as you said, you played goalkeeper when you were younger, and up you know, if you have no confidence as a goalkeeper, you're shot. Like it's very tough. You know, if you're a striker and you have no confidence, all you need is a goal. But if you're a goalkeeper, you're constantly at it's the hardest. It's the most difficult position to play in football, I would say. Because if you one mistake and it's a goal, and then you're a nightmare. You know, so I do feel sorry for the man. I hope he can go off somewhere and rejuvenate his career, but doubtful, isn't it? So we'll see.
Probably the toughest position, I would say, to succeed at in football, because one, as you said, especially if you're a keeper for the likes of Liverpool or a top club, you mightn't do anything for 85 minutes, but you have to be zoned and switched on. If you're a forward, you think, oh, if I miss this one, I might get another opportunity. But if you're a keeper, invariably, if you make a mistake, you're conceding.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's definitely the most unforgiving as well, because if you're a striker or a midfielder, if you're a striker, you make a mistake, it doesn't go punished straight away, or not necessarily. If you're a goalkeeper, you make a mistake, 9 times out of 10, it gets punished by the goal. So it's just very unforgiving. And I have so much admiration for goalkeepers, because it's very tough. You know, it's very tough. But thank God we have the sexy holy goalie in Alisson Becker with his beautiful luscious beard to look after us.
And 2 great young shot stoppers coming through as well with Pitaluga and obviously Creevy and Kelleher. So yeah, days are good. Look,
we're in safe hands.
little bit of an update for everyone. 11:30 tonight. I'm not doing a watch long of it. You're not doing a watch long? Are you doing a watch long?
No.
Argentina, Colombia. If you want to go and lose 3-1 watch. I just can't. I can't put myself to another 2.5 hours of live content today. I'm too tired. So that's on tonight. Tomorrow, I will be doing a watch along, and the day after of the AFCON semis. So from 6:45 on Twitch, I will be doing a watch along. Oh, look! Every time I say the word Twitch, I can just see a little bit of Paddy dying inside. Every time I say the word Twitch.
No, it's fine. I would say it's big enough for the bows, but I'm fairly big, so it is. No, we'll be fine. You'll have no competition for the AFCON watch along anyway. We're fine.
I'm genuinely intrigued to see it. To see how the lads get on, because it really is just Mohamed Salah carrying Egypt. It's strange to watch the level of difference between him and the other 10 lads on the pitch. So
yeah, absolutely. I just hope that we can get a Senegal-Egypt final. At least we're guaranteed a winner then, you know what I mean? Which I think, who's playing who? Who's playing Burkina Faso?
Senegal. Egypt are playing Cameroon.
Yeah, I think Egypt could come unstuck, to be honest. I think Cameroon will win, and I think Senegal will win. But I prefer, if I could pick Salah or Mane to win it, it'll be Salah, because I feel like it'd be more beneficial for Liverpool and his Ballon d'Or charge. Because, they always shite on about, you have to win trophies. Well, Salah's going to win about 5, so suck on that.
Yes, what he said, suck on that. And also, that Senegal team should win it on paper. It's just, there's some ridiculous talent in that Senegal team.
100%. No, the Senegal team is unreal. Obviously, they have Mendy, they have Mane, they have Gana Gay, Diallo from PSG. A lot of nice players. And Diatta, I think, as well. Captain Diatta.
They've got Koulibaly as well. That youngster that gets linked to Liverpool every year.
Yeah. I can't lie, Craig. I've completely lost audio, so I'm just nodding and waving right now. I don't know why. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah. Look, I would say so.
On that note, we will say a good night. Thank you to Manscaped, WFM20 for 20% off and free shipping store-wide. Thank you to Mr. Paddy Murphy.
I'm going to start punching shit here, man. Connor, come into my screen now and save me. Okay,
he's not back. Even in the background, mate, so you're lost there.
I can hear you.
We got audio.
Sorry about that.
Audio back?
Yeah, we're back now.
I was just saying my good nights and thanking Manscaped and thanking you.
I nearly got there. Without a technical mishap. So close, but thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Craig, for having me on. Been a pleasure as always, guys.
We will talk to you tomorrow. I will be live early doors and then a watch along of the tomorrow Burkina Faso, Senegal. Thank you to Paddy. Thank you to Manscaped. Thank you to you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.